Uh-oh. Well, actually not really uh-oh. But here we go. Alright, so this tractor, this 7530, actually has a couple of issues that need to be addressed. I will be addressing them not today because I just don't have the parts, and it's Sunday, New Year's Eve. This is the muffler clamp that comes off the turbocharger. It is broken. I think it's been broken a while. There was a bolt that was supposed to be in there, and it's not in there anymore. And it is very cold. It's actually 9 degrees again right now. Hold on a second. I gotta find my... I thought I had a damn flashlight. I was almost certain I just had that flashlight. There it is. So, it's 9 degrees, and last week I tried to start this tractor, and it wouldn't start. You saw the fail, and a lot of people are like, you know, I admire your honesty. Well, honesty is the best policy. If you're going to be a liar, there ain't no sense being around. So anyways, you can see in there that muffler is, the clamp is gone and the muffler has worn away. So it's got a leak to it. Now, if I buy a new clamp and put it on there, it's more than likely going to just hold enough. It's got enough on there that it'll hold it, but it'll probably leak. So I don't know whether I'm going to pull the muffler out of there and yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to pull the muffler out of there and then weld a piece of tin onto it, because there's nothing wrong with the muffler. And I can guarantee you, because this is a John Deere, well, it wouldn't matter what manufacturer made this thing, but it's that muffler, I guarantee, is like $1,000. I could almost guarantee it. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm 99% sure. But anyways, the other day, I went to start this thing, and of course, it didn't start. It just went, bleh, bleh, bleh. And normally the 6.8 liters, yeah, they fire right off easy enough. So what I did was I looked in the battery there, and I realized that it's dry. So there's 6 ports on this battery. I think 6 ports, yeah, 6 ports. It's 12 volt, 2 volts per port. And this is the battery. Of course, it's a John Deere battery. It was made probably in Europe someplace. I'd say Germany, because it's white. And this isn't the first battery or first tractor that I've gotten from Germany. The 4960, believe it or not, came from Germany many years ago. Bought that in 2003 from Germany. Because, you know, importing tractors is something that I've done before. So anyways, with a dry battery, what do? You go get some distilled water and put it in there and rehydrate the acid, the hydrochloric acid or the sulfuric acid. I think this is hydrochloric. I'm not 100% sure. Nope, sulfuric acid. So, went down to Napa, and you can buy these things. This is a bottle of acid, or electrolyte as they call it. And I topped it off. It took 1 1/4 of those things to top off this battery. So I put the battery charger on the battery, and I put a charge to it. And because it was so cold when I did that, it just said that it was 100%. And because it was cold, and there was no bubbling or anything. But I ran it for about the battery charger for a couple of hours while I was in here working on other things. Of course, that was about 4 days ago, at least 4 days ago. And I haven't really been here at the farm. Well, I've been here, but I haven't really done much work here in the last few days, just because I'm a busy guy, and I'm waiting for parts. I had some people ask me some questions. What's the next project? Farm tractor project. Well, that's it right there, the 4010. The engine block sits there. The engine kit is ordered. It was supposed to be here last week. I ordered it before Christmas, and of course it isn't here yet, and I'm a little pissed off about that, but it will get here. I'm ready to go on that. So what I'm going to do is actually do a cold start, or an attempted cold start, because I'm hoping that this thing starts. Usually when a battery dries out like that, it's pretty much the end of it. But we're going to find out. So it looks good right now. The glow plugs are glowing nice and brightly. So, there it is. So right now I would have to say that my battery has been rejuvenated. She fired right off. Very nice. Very, very nice. I'm actually quite happy with that. All my functions seem to be working. This thing here is kind of, I don't like this little thing here. I think it could be here. And I think that the Isobus monitors, this had an Isobus monitor on it. That could be put there, but it's just, this is where they put them on the 30 series, or the 7530. Yeah. As cold as this thing was, I am rather impressed. So, yeah, it'll settle down here once it warms up. And I'm not going to be using this tractor too much because of the turbocharger, the muffler not being clamped to the turbocharger because of these clamps. Somewhere the bolt had worked its way out of there, and that's what I have, 2 pieces. I thought I had another one for the 7410, and I was pretty certain I did, because I think the 7410 actually has the same one. But I don't know. That's a donut. That's a donut or a fiber ring, but that don't take that. And I thought I had one here, but I may have used it when I replaced that muffler years ago. And I've got different clamps, like here's a turbo clamp for, that could very well be for the 7410. I did replace a turbocharger on that a while back, but I don't see it, so right there, there's one. There's a couple of them up there, but they're a different style, you know. Let's see what we got. That the used one? I think this one I know is for the 4430. Or the 4450, one or the other. But I'll just buy the right one. And anyway, yeah, so I'm pretty happy with that. She fired right off, and it's running. What I'll do is I'll put the hood down. And there you go. I like this tractor a lot, by the way. I didn't know. This is not a tractor. You see the 7810? I'll just put it this way. People look at the 7530 and are like, oh, that's a smaller tractor than your 7810. Well, I'm going to tell you something. It's not. It's actually longer. It is a big tractor. There's a 78, the 4960 there with a flat tire again. But the 7810, beautiful tractor, runs great, fires right off. That's got an 8.1. This is a 6.8 liter in this one. This is a much larger tractor. The reason people think that it's smaller is because the cab is a lot farther forward on this tractor than it is on that tractor. And this tractor here produces a hell of a lot more horsepower. It's a lot smoother to run because of the IVT transmission. Just really a great machine. It's quiet when you get in here and you shut the door. It's really quiet. And oh, come on, you devil. Yeah, it's quiet. So I was watching Ryan, How Farms Work channel, and he was going back to the W235, or yeah, the 8235R tractor from the 8370R, and you could tell he was a little in shock, I guess, by the difference in horsepower between the two tractors. And I know exactly what he's talking about, because I have 2 tractors that are very similar to what he has and what he has used. My 8120, that is 235 engine horsepower. It is the same horsepower as what the 8235 is. We're close, you know. There might be a little bit more. I'm not really 99. I know my 8120 is 235 engine horsepower. That's what it states up on the motor, and that's how they come up with that designation for the 8235R. And the 8370R Yeah, the 8370R is very, very similar to my 8530. My 8530, that one dynoed at 370, I think it was 372 horsepower. So 374 horsepower, that's what that thing dynoed at. So, engine horsepower. Don't ask me how they do it. Anytime I ever saw a dyno done, it was done off the power takeoff. And I have the dyno sheets. This one might even have it in there yet. This one's 208 horsepower. So, that's what they supposedly dynoed at, those tractors. So when you go from, say, that 370 horsepower tractor down to the 235 horsepower tractor, it's sick, the difference. And then the power shift deal, like my 8120, it's a power shift tractor. It's jerky. It's, I find myself stalling the tractor out when I go down the road because I'm putting my foot on the brake. I put my foot on the brake. I don't put my foot on the clutch in the 8530 or this 7530. The 8120 or the 7810. Very similar tractors. The two tractors are the 7810 behind me and this 7530. Very similar in horsepower. This one has a lot more, but the 7810 is supposed to be 175 horsepower, where this one's supposed to be 185 horsepower, which is 10 horsepower different. But when you get into this, when you're in this for a large amount of time and then you get in that 7810, it's like I couldn't even tell you, it's like getting out of the 4960 and getting into the 4430. That's what I can equate that to. That's just, or even a 4020 for that matter. Not that they don't have their place on different farms, It's just you get used to something that is so much more advanced and so much easier to operate, so much smoother in the field and so much smoother on the road, and just, just works. They just work. And you don't know how they work or why they're so much better until you get into the old tractor and you're like, oh, well, I can run anything. Well, yeah, you can. But once you get out of one of these, and you get into, say, that 7810 behind me, and you're like, oh my God, I have to shift. Maybe I'm sounding like a spoiled brat, but unless you've done it, you don't know what I'm talking about. But once you've done it, you're gonna be like, hey, you know what? One Lonely Farmer's right, and Brian from How Farms Work, he's right. They're right. It is a huge difference. Now, speed, that vertical tillage machine, he's probably doing a lot better job with the VT on that 8235R than he was with the 8370R because he's not speeding. But he would be much more efficient with the 8370R because once you set that speed, the engine and the transmission will match to create that speed. So if I say I want to go 8 miles an hour with my vertical tillage machine, you set the little wheelie thing here on the shifter, on that shift lever, you set that to 8.5 miles an hour, and by golly, it don't matter whether you're climbing Mount Everest or on the flat, you're going 8.5 miles an hour. And, try to do that with say the 7810. You're not going to do it because it is direct. There's no matching speed, because this tractor will downshift and speed the engine up, or vice versa when you're going downhill, and that's where you get your efficiency. So yeah, they seem like they're fuel hogs when you're looking at the fuel gauge go down, but you got to equate that in your head for acres done. So if that thing is burning, like I'll burn 12 to 13 gallons an hour running that big baler. With the 8120, I'm burning less, but it's taking me a lot longer because I'm only able to go 7-8 miles an hour in heavy hay, whereas with the 8530 I'm able to go 9-10 miles an hour because I have the power there. So instead of burning 11 gallons an hour with the 8120, I'm burning, say 13 gallons an hour with the 8530. I am much more efficient with that 8530 than I am with the 8120. and I don't get stuck, and I'm not scared on hills. I'm not going to jackknife anything, you know, with the 8530. It's really a great tractor. I like big balloony tires. I really do. For what I do, big balloony tires. If I was going to go into heavy tillage, I would keep these big fat balloony tires and I would dual them out. That's what I would do. They ride smoother, they're easier to handle on the road and in the field for making hay and stuff. Heavy tillage though, I know the Europeans, they you know, or the English, they use these. They don't dual them. They don't put duals on these big ones that I have seen. Now, don't say that it hasn't been done, just it's not a common practice from what I've seen in England and other parts of the world. But I know a lot of guys are like, oh, you got to take those big fat tires off and put dual 20.8 42s on. Well, dual 20.8 42s are basically the same as what I've got in a 710-70R38. Honestly, they really are. They're not much different, you know. Stability-wise in the field, yeah, they're wider, and you're not going to feel the rocking and the rolling. And I think that, like I said, if I was going to go into heavy tillage again, or even pull in a big corn planter or something, I'd put duals on this bad boy and go to town. And that would be great. It would work. So, but anyways, I guess I've yammered on long enough. This thing is warmed up enough. Actually, it hasn't warmed up at all. Look, it's so cold in here. But watch this. I'm going to put this thing to full throttle. She goes up, and then she settles down. Did you see that? I haven't changed anything. Right there to right there. Now I can drop it down. So this engine only matches what the power I need it to be at. So, and then you got all this here. You can adjust all kinds of things. Just all kinds of things. But anyways, I'm going to say thanks for watching. Please comment, rate, and subscribe for more. And if you haven't already, go check out the Ag Talk in the Raw, where it's just me talking at my desk about questions that people ask me and things that are going on in agriculture. You can find that in the description. There's a link below. Thanks again.